wireless connection. No.
Wait.
Yay.
Yay.
There we go.
We made it.
You guys, we went through so much to come live for you, all three of us together.
Oh, did it work?
It says tag friend.
There you go.
Okay, so are you with us now?
Let me make sure.
All right.
Let me make sure. Hello, everybody.
We're getting there. We're getting there. Invite your friends. This is going to be a fun little time here. We're going to talk about the apocalypse. Maybe it's not what you think, but it could be. If you know what apocalypse really means,
Yes.
then it might be what you think. So stay tuned. We're going to get into it. Plus the alignments of 923.
Yes.
Those are pretty special. I'm feeling it today. I'm very excited.
Very excited.
Took a journey to the great central sun this morning. That was awesome. Pretty epic. Is it showing up?
Should be on my page.
Yeah, did you see it?
I don't know.
I was
I
checking
thought you
it.
were supposed to check. That was
I saw
Max's job.
No, I saw him
my
checking
goodness.
it. I saw him checking
You
it.
guys, this is hilarious. We've been
Bear
trying
with us, everybody.
We've been trying to find a spot
We
for
should
half an
have
hour.
had a camera set up for like the menagerie that's been going on for the setup. They probably would have like enjoyed that more than the information we have for them today.
The pre-live show was funnier than what's happening
Yeah.
now. Anyway, well, this isn't really meant for comedy, but
Can't go wrong.
I'm not seeing it on your timeline.
the pre-live was pretty funny.
They're pretty.
Oh, bummer.
You're not seeing it?
No, I just see that your image you put up.
Is there a way we can add you in?
Because
so that
usually
it's
you have
not
to
on your
confirm, unless you have it set up, someone else can't
I
post
thought
on
I
your
did.
timeline.
I thought I did that.
All right. Well,
It says
while
it.
we're waiting,
All right, now it's up.
yay! While we're waiting, invite your friends, share the video, let them know that we're all live together. We're having a big hoopla over here in
We're going
Sedona.
now. We're going.
We're doing it.
We're doing
it. Right? Let me just go to my. I literally only go on here to put up videos, so I'm like,
A little Facebook
yeah.
inept. No, you're good. Okay.
No,
we don't
it's
wanna,
not. It's not here.
We don't want to affirm that. Oh,
Dude,
I don't know.
scroll up.
man.
Scroll up to your.
What was the one you just saw? That was
Whenever
mine?
someone else posts.
Maybe once it's done.
It will show up on yours once it's done, but anyway, okay, so let's just do it. Not putzing around. Okay, so let's talk about the apocalypse.
What if I tag myself?
Try it.
This is
Now we
such
got
a crap
video
show
on
right
the
now.
video delay.
Technical gymnastics.
You know the replay's going on my YouTube channel, right? You know that, right?
This is
Rock. This is
This
rock.
is reminding me of.
This is live.
This is reminding me of that scene in Spaceballs when they're like, "You're looking at now." Have you ever seen that?
I have a long time ago.
Oh my
Share.
Okay.
That's how we do this.
Okay.
Okay.
You guys, where's the help?
None of my friends are techies. No one gave us
Sharing post now.
Okay.
Oh god.
So
All right.
you were gonna ask Google a question.
Oh
about
yes.
apocalypse. Yeah,
Yes.
So let's do
Now we're gonna be on our phones today. All right. So there's a lot of misconception about today's alignment. You know, I saw a lot of fear-based posts on YouTube
Yep.
and some on Facebook,
Yep.
and a lot of you know, not to point the finger at the religions, but a lot of people of that nature saying this is end times once again. So, you know.
I didn't realize that today is the date for the Christian apocalypse.
Is that?
That's a thing. I didn't realize.
I
That was
didn't- I
actually
didn't
a
know.
thing.
Well, you know, they move it around. They're like, it's coming, and it keeps, it was
Well,
2000,
for the
then it was
past couple of
2002.
years, it's been 923. 923 is the
Right,
is the
because
date.
that's the
Max
it's-
would see 923 all the time.
Right.
Remember that?
Yeah.
It's a particular celestial alignment.
Mm-hmm.
There is an astrological reason for that energy timing,
Yes.
but the interpretation of it has been perhaps a little convoluted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're going to talk about what the apocalypse really is.
We're gonna talk about that.
Clear
All right,
it all up
so
now.
first I'm gonna use the definition that people think is the definition, all right?
Okay. We're going to get the contrast.
What is the definition of apocalypse?
Apocalypse, the complete final destruction of the world, especially as described in the biblical book of Revelation.
Okay, that sounds kind of scary. All right, let's try that again.
Huh.
What is the ancient definition of apocalypse?
According to Wikipedia, an apocalypse is a disclosure of knowledge or revelation.
a disclosure of knowledge and revelation.
Very
Which would be a destruction of their worldview.
Exactly. So the destruction that they're talking about, very good, brother. The destruction that they're talking about is a change. The way that the world was has to change. And this is the alignment. All these planets aligned in Virgo, this virgin birth, is what this is talking about. So, I mean, you can't make that up because, you know, these dates were all started and compared from the ancient standpoint. This isn't, you know, the Bible wasn't written 500 years ago. So any of these alignments that they're getting and they're saying, oh, it's going to be an apocalypse, it's going to be an apocalypse, they're literally just saying there's going to be a disclosure of knowledge or a revelation. Okay?
And once all their stuff is exposed,
Yes.
that's their destruction.
Yes.
I never thought of it that way.
Because you're destroying the old world, the old worldview.
Love it.
Yes.
What more do we need to
Funny
say
what
about that?
one less word can change,
kind
right?
of, that's kind of a whole thing in itself.
Right.
That's kind of
Well,
What else do you want to say about it?
so the thing is that when they're describing all these things, a lot of what they're saying is true, but they omit certain words or put a certain context or framing which makes it untrue.
Yes.
Right? And so they are disclosing in a convoluted manner. There is truth shrouded in misdirection.
Yes. Basically what I've been getting for this day, what stands from this day forward, is these things that you thought about that were unrealistic for the past, 15 years. These things that you were like, oh, one day I want to go to this country, one day I want to do this, one day I want to make music, one day I want to do this thing or that. You're now going to be going against flow to do those things. That's what I was getting from this. Was basically anything that you put all this time and all this energy into manifesting will now be against flow if you don't do those things. So your dreams are literally coming true from this point forward.
Why this year, though? Because, like we mentioned before, Max has been seeing the 9/23 date for a long time. Last year, the year before, that date was coming up very strongly. So what makes this year different in terms of
light?
Okay.
Light. Any action has an equal and opposing reaction is what science shows us. So basically, if all these planets are in alignment in one astrological sign, okay, you literally have a needle pulling on the sun. So all these X-class solar flares, people are saying, oh wow, there's a lot of solar flares lately. People are looking at this earthquake or this hurricane or whatever's going on. Not to focus on that stuff. But you're looking at this. These X-class solar flares are blasting the planet. Why? I mean, think of if you have all those planets in one line pulling and pulling and pulling. That's going to pull off these solar flares. So it's a reaction of gravity, whether people believe in gravity or not. All those planets being in one needle point pulling on the sun are going to have an effect on it, whether it's gravity or whether it's metaphysical, whether it's scientific. Think about it.
Yeah, well, I don't have to think about it. I can feel it. That's one of the reasons I wanted to do this video with you, because we were talking earlier.
Having the same download, yeah.
Yeah, and what you're like, my whole body was just kind of like, as he was talking, I'm like, okay. But I've been feeling this really strong alignment, and that today was going to be kind of like the apex of the alignment, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
That there's an opportunity today where the light's just kind of streaming in. Like, we've had the light coming in increasing amounts, increasing amplification. The light's been coming, and today it just feels like there's just like a steady stream from the great central sun and from all the light sources out there. I feel like
it's been intense. I mean, the whole year's been intense, but it's been particularly intense since Lionsgate. I mean, it's like we had this like special Lionsgate on August 8th, and then we had this eclipse. The eclipse was a ride for a lot of people, and continued. It's not that it still is. Like, some people are still going through the ascension symptoms and the shadow integrations that were necessary from the eclipse right now still. So this is just even more light to put on top of it.
Yeah. It's like, I've been saying this, if you guys have been following me for a while, I've been saying that we're not going to be able to hide our shadow, hide this stuff. Like, the light's going to keep coming. It's going to keep coming in stronger.
Yes.
We're not going to be able to sweep things under the rug anymore. We're not going to be able to suppress any symptoms we're experiencing. We got to address it. We got to deal with it.
And we've been seeing that amongst people we know.
Totally. Yeah. We'll have, like, all of a sudden people will be, you know, calling us or contacting us, like, crises that they're going through or whatever, and it's like,
and always very similar too. You'll notice.
You can't hide it anymore.
You can't.
The stuff that you haven't dealt with before, you have to deal with it now. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you notice with your sessions and your calls, like, it's like the same theme? It's like, you know, it's like a family theme, or it's like this. I don't know if I get that just to, like, add it to the tarot, like the weekly tarot readings I do, but I get like it's like literally every week is a theme.
Yeah, I don't know if I do enough individual sessions to notice themes, but I like, the thing I'm noticing is just that stuff people thought was cleared or healed is coming back, or things that they've tried to heal before or work with before, if it wasn't complete, it's showing up again. It's happening for myself too, you know, as I do my inner work.
That was like April or May that started, and it was either 9 years or 18 years ago for everybody, depending on their age.
Interesting.
Because I said that in a video, and like my inbox blew up. My inbox was like, oh my God, I did the math, and I'm literally going through a similar relationship from exactly 9 or 18 years ago. So there was this, you know, because it's in numerology, it's 9 years, it's not 10.
Okay, I'm doing the math for myself now. Where was I 18 years ago? What was I
18
doing?
and then 9, and you'll see, to bring them on as a guest, was that okay?
Oh, that's the new
That's
thing
that
I
new
was
option?
telling you about.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Facebook Live's given us options.
I've never seen that.
New things on
new.
Facebook all the time. Pam says, I'm grateful to discover new light, brother and sister, through you, Alex. Beautiful energy between you. Yay! Thank you, Pam. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate it. Invite your friends.
Yes.
What was I
So
saying?
9 years ago, 18 years ago, what were you doing?
What was I doing 18 years ago? I was about to enter my healing crisis 18 years ago. Yep, that's what I was doing. I was a pediatric occupational therapist, and I was going around to homes educating parents about how to work with their kids with, you know, learning challenges, and I was about to go through my healing crisis. Yeah, I had been told that I had chronic fatigue syndrome, but I didn't, like, you know, want to listen. I was like, I have a life to live. I can't deal with this illness thing.
Good, you tell them.
And life told you otherwise.
But then I got a severe herniated disc in my lower back, and then I couldn't sleep, and that made the chronic fatigue syndrome worse, and so then I couldn't, you know, I couldn't work at all. So I had to listen. I'm grateful because my crisis came a long time ago, and I've had a mentor for the past 13 years to help me do my inner work, to help me progress on my journey, so that where I am now, I can help those who are just awakening. I can help those who are going through this. I know the ropes, you know.
Yes, you do.
I'm glad. I'm glad I had that crisis back then.
She's
You know?
very wise.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
You're so sweet. You're wise too.
Oh, thanks.
So are you. We're all wise.
All this wisdom.
We're all wise.
we got two wizards here.
A couple wise guys.
Wise gays.
My wizards. These are my wizards.
So, I just want people to look at it because it might not, you know, it was a healing for you, but for some people it might be something karmically they're being presented with.
Yeah.
So there might be something 9 years ago that they did something naughty.
Oh, that's coming back
And
around.
now that thing's coming up again, like, will you do same said naughty thing after learning that karma exists? After learning that what happens when you do that naughty thing, what will you do?
Okay.
So it's,
All right.
So that
hopefully
is,
I caught you in time because this
But
started in May, like I said.
that is the same sort of healing your karma. I mean, that's
Yep.
yeah.
Exactly.
You make
So-
a different choice this
So
time
it's just a
around.
different sort of expression of the energy.
Well, universe or source or original creator of your soul, whatever your vernacular is,
Yes,
they're definitely testing us to see, will they do it again? Is what I'm getting.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, the choice is up to us.
It is up to us.
We each have to make our own choice about how we're going to progress, how we're going to move forward, or if we're going to go back into the stagnation.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
I want to go forward.
Absolutely. Me too.
Yes.
Max!
Yes, I am ready.
Always move
What do you got to
forward.
say, Max?
I'm ready for some good changes in this world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like what?
I,
Tell us, like what?
well, it's funny because I've been seeing people in my life changing
Mm-hmm.
in a positive manner. Like
Yeah.
my parents growing and becoming more aware and
Mm-hmm.
being more, consciously looking at their inner stuff. My little sister even came
Mhm.
and visited,
Yeah,
and
that was awesome.
she had like this whole journey of stepping into her wisdom and gifts and knowing,
Yep.
and I, my friend reaching out to me for help, and then our other friends, and then even my aunts and uncles and cousins who are, they're pretty in the 3D stuff. They're starting to explore some things,
Yeah.
They're starting to get those first hints of curiosity. So I'm seeing it at different levels across the board. And so, I'm just trusting, and I'm focused on,
Mm-hmm.
just creating heaven.
Heaven on earth,
Me
baby.
too, brother.
There you go.
Yeah.
And you got to.
And I keep seeing it, little by little.
You gotta laugh when, like, the more 3D people in your reality, like, I'm noticing they're starting to be like, cancel clear. And I'm like, did I just say cancel clear?
Wait, what?
Oh.
Even one of my buddies the other day goes,
What?
I go,
Wait, what?
I tell him, cancel clear. Like, if somebody
Oh,
says
you-
something
oh, you hear that.
out of alignment, you're like,
Oh.
cancel clear. Or even one of my buddies the other day, I was like, he said something negative. I go, cancel clear, knock on wood. And he's like, but if you knock on wood, the cancel clear. Did you cancel the cancel clear? And I'm like,
You can't double the negatives.
yes, exactly.
Can't
They're all positives.
We
Can't
say
not
safe
be-
space.
Safe space.
Save space.
If we
Because-
utter something that we don't actually want to create, we say
Okay.
safe space.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
I like
then
that.
you're
That
not
works too.
setting a negating energy, you're setting a holding energy.
Yeah.
A safe, so it's a different type of energy.
Maybe we should answer a couple of questions and wrap it up.
Yeah, you guys have questions?
Any questions?
Any questions?
Any other things you guys wanted to discuss on this or be?
I wanted to talk about the alignment, how people
Yeah.
are, whatever their passion is, that's what's easiest from this day forward.
Mm.
So even if it seems unrealistic and like, oh, but how do I make any money doing said thing?
Mm-hmm.
When you're in that joy, that's when your inner child will be in the suit. When your inner child's in the suit, that's when you're going to be 7 times more productive than you've ever been
When
before.
you say in the suit,
Integrated in the body. In the
in the
yeah.
human body
In the vessel.
aspect.
Yes,
Okay.
in the vessel.
Just clarify.
Yeah.
And when people see you in your joy, they want to help you because it brings them joy. It's
Yeah.
like such a
Mhm.
catalyst for just ease and grace in your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had a cool experience at the farmer's market yesterday.
Yeah.
We were leaving and the sprout guy was like, you guys, you came in here and you were so joyful. And what did he say?
Just
He was just like, he was feeling our joy.
Yeah.
It was like rubbing off on him. He was feeling the excitement and the joy like that we were just embodying and sharing. It was really cool.
do we have a question?
Yeah, we did get a question.
Oh.
Anything we
I didn't see
should
that.
do in particular during this most auspicious night?
Focus on,
Yeah.
on your joy.
Focus.
What are you
Focus
creating?
on your creations of light.
Yep.
Get yourself in that joyful space.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, if you are feeling those, not so fun emotions, feel them. Let them flow through so
Mhm.
that you can get to that joy point.
Mhm.
Because if you try to feel the joy and you're not
Yeah.
feeling it, you're feeling other things.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work. You have to let those emotions flow through, and then you can access that joy.
Yeah. Some sort of, I agree with you. Some sort of, looking back on your past meditation would be good too.
Mm.
Like seeing what brought you joy. What were you thinking about? So instead of letting anything come in, that could be distracting, cancel clear, save space. Instead of letting anything come in, just look back on the times when you were joyous. What were those things that you were thinking about doing? Were you thinking about singing? Were you thinking about, like what was that thing? Because that's where you're gonna, get the benefit of moving into that said thing.
You're so cute.
What things brought you joy as a child, right? Because the child is before all the happening.
Let your inner child play.
Right.
Susie, the Pleiadian counselor herself.
Is that what
I love like sometimes when you're around, like I'll do something, I'll be like, Susie, is that okay? And you're like, why are you always asking me?
I'm not here to judge you.
I know. No one else has that effect. I'll just be like, Susie, can I say that? And you're like, what the heck, dude?
I think you swore one time around me or something. You're like, I'm sorry. Why are you apologizing to me?
Susie.
Maybe he knows about the council you're on.
Maybe. I had another idea too with that question about how to spend the time tonight.
Mm-hmm.
To do a meditation with the candle or the light or something, and just focusing on embodying that light, focusing on amplifying that light, and then once you have it integrated within yourself, to share it and emanate it. A lot of times, this is a thing that I have, this little soapbox moment. A lot of times people want to do meditations and share the light and send the light out there, and they're like a wreck inside themselves. So I always say, integrate the light within you first, and then allow it just to be overflowing.
Yes.
Fill your cup first.
Yeah, clean the water before you share the water. Because if you're sharing dirty water,
Max. Love it.
life and water, they flow.
That's awesome. Life's high over there. Yeah,
What's going on, Siobhan? Any more questions?
Any more questions, you guys? Thanks for being with us, by the way. Yeah, we appreciate your presence here. And we love you. We're glad that you're part of our soul family. Ha ha, dirty water.
Be honest with yourself.
Anyone
Be
have
gentle
any
with yourself.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing it.
Well, if you have questions that you don't want to share here and you want deeper support, Alex does tarot readings. I do personalized channeling sessions. Max will join me for a coaching session. So there's lots of opportunity to get deeper support if you want that, if you want to know how to work with these energies. And it's not like today the energies happen and then it's done.
Exactly.
Today is like
this is the point where that needle is on. Like just like when they basically friends were asking me before 12/21 in 2012. They were saying, "Oh, what's going to happen on that day?" And I said, What came through for me was that was the start of the energies. That's when the energies started to come in, and they actually wouldn't be fully materialized till 2015, same day. So it took 3 years for it to build and build and build to the point where it actually had an effect here.
Interesting.
So the date really should have been the 15th, the 2015 rather.
There was definitely things starting.
Alex,
What
what's
is the
the
name of the protection crystal you always wear? Well, it's a string. It's a combination of bronzite, angel quartz, which is platinum and silver molecularly bonded to a quartz, and aqua aura, which is 24 karat gold molecularly bonded to a quartz.
Is that what that is?
Well, this is basically my angelic warrior. This is like a different version of it from my website. When you have the access.
Which one's the aqua aura?
So this bead's on the website. That's a
Hold it right up there, yeah.
that's a half angel quartz, half aqua aura skull bead. All right, so that's in like the build your own glossary section, but that is that connection. And then this is the bronzite. So bronzite is better known as the white witch stone because any negativity sent to the wearer of this goes back to wherever it came from threefold. So excellent question. Well, basically, people ask me sometimes, they're like, well, why would you want to do that? But I mean, this is going to give you protection on the spiritual plane and the physical. So in the physical plane, you're going to have the ability to be like, if somebody is wishing a flat tire on somebody and they happen to be wearing one of my bracelets and they go home with 3 or 4 flat tires, are they ever going to do that again?
Lesson learned.
Well, wake them up. So, but on the spiritual aspect, if basically picture it like an etheric version of, Star Wars is a good way to look at it, the Emperor and Vader. When the Emperor went to fry Vader, those 3 bands of electricity that went out and hit Vader would have bounced off and turned into 9 and went back where they were sent from. So for the type of work that I do, bringing people the knowledge that sometimes their darker aspects don't want to hear because they don't want to change their diets.
Yeah.
it's a very powerful combination of crystals to wear. So yeah, the answer is, I guess, bronzite and combined with other things. Another one.
I'm not sure I understand the question. Higher night selves of other people are now fully aligned with the light. Higher night self, like, does she mean shadow aspects?
Or 90.
No, it says night. Higher
Night.
night.
Some of
self.
those aspects are still on stream. I'm going to answer that to the best of what I'm understanding it as. Certain dark aspects are still on people's streams, but they're not able to project in at the same degree that they were able to before. It's kind of like they're calling in with a telephone instead of sitting right there. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I just didn't.
Like if somebody has
understand
like a dragon aspect that's out of alignment, like judging by the amount of light that's here right now, they can get into alignment and then come here. So like they might still appear like they're on stream, but they're actually projecting in more than actually being here.
Okay.
It's like the way that the energies are purified. I mean, it's like, how can you have, if you have a really bright light going in this one direction, how can a shadow cross it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that bright light's
Without
going in
being
all
seen.
directions. So that shadow, and that's why a lot of people are, they're going through it because they have a shadow, they haven't adjusted, and it's literally like, it's frying it. It's like boiling it or something. It has to be faced, it has to be integrated and dealt with. So it's not, if you keep putting light on a shadow, it's going to be like, where do I go? I can't get out of the light. There's light everywhere.
So I used a little bit different language than you, but I think we're saying the same thing. I talk about integrating all of your aspects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you have your light aspects, you have your shadow aspects,
Yep.
and you want to integrate all of them. And that requires seeing your light aspects, your shadow aspects, and dealing with it. If something's out of alignment, you have to deal with it. Heal it, find your wholeness within it, bring it into the light.
Yeah. Because all shadow.
We're saying the same thing, right?
Yes, we are. Yeah, we're saying the same thing.
I don't always understand the way you language things, I think.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm just being honest.
All shadow is built. All shadow is built
that's
upon
so
your origin.
She said thank you. You're welcome, Adriana. We answered it properly.
All
As long as you
shadow is built
understand it,
upon
Adriana, we're
what
good.
is that origin. So you start as light, you start as infinity, you start as this expansion, and from that space is created polarity, right? And so from that, within the darkness, you can still find light, right? And so part of the journey is having that willingness to have compassion and exploring your shadow, and holding space and integrity with the light that you currently embody, right?
Yes.
And so a tool and technique I use to assist the ego in finding shadow, right? Because the ego doesn't like to admit fear or find fear. I ask the question, what is it that you do not trust? And it takes it a step back for the ego because it's before it goes into fear. And it's much easier. It gives you a short list. So not 100% of that is fear, but a large majority or a large portion of that is where you'll find pretty much all your fears, is in what you don't
It's
trust.
true, it really works. He's
Yeah.
done this.
It's an interesting thing
No, I like that.
assists the ego. Yeah.
What don't I trust? Well, I can answer that question better than,
Right.
what am
You
I
can-
afraid of?
You
Yeah.
can laundry list it.
Yeah. Nice, Max. Love it.
Many good things, many
Brilliant.
tools. Yeah.
Yes. Any other questions, you guys, before we say goodbye? Well, it's been fun hanging out.
Yes, always.
Glad that you've been with us. Share the video. We appreciate your gathering with us
If you
today.
missed the madness in the
If you-
beginning, you
oh
might want
my
to restart the
goodness.
video.
Watch it from the beginning. It's pretty hilarious.
Hey,
Thank you, Kelly.
it's live, that's for sure.
Have a nice day. You
Have a
too,
nice
David.
day.
Have a nice
What is this? What if you're not in fear of anything because you survived it already? Well, if you're using the word survived, so that tells me that you're not in the thriving mode. Otherwise, that wouldn't even come up. I'm just kind of pointing it out because you asked.
Right.
I would, like for me, I want to always claim that I'm thriving in my life. I haven't survived anything.
So they
I'm
might be
thriving.
at a point of neutrality with it.
Like that.
And from there, you choose how to move forward.
Either way, I'll go back to the joy frequency. Find what it is that brings you the most joy. And, think about that, Siobhan. Think about moving into whatever that is, or at least spending, you know, when I started writing my music lyrics, which is all of a sudden, like the phone calls even, let alone what I got today, basically
Just put in survival mode.
Yeah.
Huh?
I got approval today. Basically, they're saying that, like, what's it called? Shazam, Spotify, iTunes, like
Okay.
my whole, like, my DJ got everybody on our record label approved that they're all going to be able to be on all these things at once. So that
Awesome.
call came through today, and, you know,
Yeah.
he's a spiritual dude, but not to the point that he knew what day he was calling on. So I was like,
Alignment.
okay, alignment. So think of that thing that you do, and the reason I said that was when I started writing lyrics and I thought I didn't have time, what I would do was every Tuesday at 7 o'clock I had to write. Even if I just sat there and it was like I was exhausted and like not much was coming through, I would sit there from 7 to 8 or 7 to 9, depending on, like, you know, once you start something,
Yeah.
sometimes like if you wanted to do a drawing or a painting, it would just,
Sometimes
you know,
you
some
have to
days.
sit yourself down just to start it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So to
yeah.
make the appointment with yourself that every week, and don't lie to yourself because that'll close your throat chakra, but make the appointment with yourself that every, say, Tuesday, 7 p.m., you're going to sit there for at least an hour and do this thing that you say that you're passionate about. And when you do this thing that you're passionate about on Tuesday, what will happen is all of a sudden, you said you're going to do it from 7 to 8, it turns into 7 to 10,
Yeah.
and then you're so like, oh my God, I'm on a roll. All of a sudden, Wednesday, you're doing it from
And
like
then you're
8 to
wired to
11,
that.
and then you're wired to that. You
Yeah.
basically have now added that into your, you know, oh God, is it Tuesday yet? And then you're like, wait, why do I have to wait till Tuesday? You don't. You never have to. But to give yourself the appointment to work on your passion, that's what I suggest.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah.
So Sarah had a question. She was asking how to contact her guides. So I just want to say that many people are coming to the point where their guides aren't externalized. You're finding the guidance within. So first, Sarah, I would ask yourself, do I need to contact my guides? Or am I at the point in my journey where I can find the guidance from my own heart? Now, if you're still receiving assistance from external guidance, then you can just ask them, can you show up for me? You have to, get in a quiet place. You have to be able to know how to quiet your mind so that you can hear the guidance, because they're usually, if you are in fact receiving that type of guidance, they're usually all around you, giving you guidance all the time. We're just not necessarily hearing it.
Yeah.
So you have to learn that. You have to train yourself to listen to it.
It depends where their most balanced guide or higher self is as well, too.
Say more about that.
Well, I like to take things to a vote, okay? So, like, if I ask, like, obviously if I ask, like, if I pick up a
Because you're
food...
working with a bunch of people, beings.
like higher selves, like if I'll ask my Pleiadian, like my angelic, I'll ask my Elven, which is really a Hyadian, and then I went through a lot of work with my Draco. He's doing fantastic.
Awesome.
So basically I take things to a vote, because, you don't want also to be pigeonholed.
Yeah.
You don't want to, like, if you're looking for this guide, you might get this guide and it's like, yes, and you're like, oh my God, everything they tell me is right. Like Google Maps told me to go right, they told me to go left was right. This is amazing. This is literally things that have happened in my life. But it's on that 10th question, if, even Pleiadian aspects, everybody has their own agenda, okay?
Yeah.
Everybody,
Yeah.
every human, every starseed race, everybody has their own agenda that is slightly different. So when you take things to a vote, and then you're like, if I get a no over here, I'm like, well, why did you say no and these two say yes? That's when, you're really getting true guidance, is by not... So, like, I want you to get in touch with this guide, because if you get in touch with your spirit guide, basically what happens is you're in 3D or 5, and this guide is just slightly above you, like almost like a ghost. Like they say ghosts are in 4D. So if a ghost is in 4D, you can't see them, but they're very, very close. So this ghost spirit guide, you're talking to this person, they're actually going to their 70. So they're actually asking their Pleiadian aspect. So it's like kind of like a telephone game.
Yeah.
So you're like, because when you first get these gifts, you're first able to like break through and like, say you're using a pendulum where you can kind of see things, or whatever you're using to get through to this ghost, this 4D spirit guide. it's not, the answers aren't coming from them. They're asking what's on their stream.
So wouldn't it be simpler
To just ask your...
to ask your I am presence, to
Yeah.
ask your heart?
Well, that's why I tell people to tune in on their heart and see what raises it and what makes it fall.
Yeah.
But sometimes that doesn't work for them. And some people really love validation.
I know. I know.
And I can't blame them.
I can't blame them either.
But when you get in touch with your spirit guide or whatever higher self, Sister Sarah, maybe get in touch with a few more and always take things to a vote. That's what I would love to leave you guys with today.
That's an interesting idea. I feel like you're kind of advanced in communication with guides. I never did that before. It was always just like, I don't know, maybe in another lifetime I already worked through this or whatever, but I feel like when I first woke up, my heart was where I first went for the answers. And I did have external guidance and things like that helping me, but it was always like, this is the final, this one has the final say.
Yeah, I didn't get that treatment. I read a book called Opening the Channel, and the guy comes through, gives me his full name, first, middle, last. I Google it. He's from my tiny little home state, and his gravestone is about 15 minutes away by car. And I had that exact story was a true story. Google was telling me to go right. My ex-girlfriend's sitting in the seat, and she's like, it says right. And I'm like, I'm going left, because every cell in my body is telling me to go left. And I go left, and I go, it's right around this corner. Mark my words, you could ask her. We pull around the corner, I'm like, there it is. I stop, there's the gravestone. Like, I could feel it. So, you know, I spent a few years with just this one guy. So he's the one who taught me that he actually was asking his angelic aspect. And, you know, once I got in touch with my angelic aspect, it was kind of like... Because he had his, and this is all, like, he literally told me his exact name. Like, it was, the whole story is, like,
and he
crazy
had
in
his
itself.
own agenda for you?
The ex-girlfriend that was sitting right next to me was actually, he made her keep having kids, kid after kid after kid, because he wanted, you know, the old school, like, the man used to carry on the family name. And on the 14th attempt of all this trauma of every single one of these kids passing away, and this is on Wikipedia, I'm not making this up. After all these kids passing away, he couldn't carry on this name. There kept being a trauma. Obviously, there was some sort of curse or something was going on with this guy. She dies during childbirth. So he was trying to heal her, I don't know, sacral chakra issues or whatever. Like, there was a lot going on and a lot of pains and a lot of...
Through you.
Because I could, you know, he came to me because I could see him. And he literally followed me around. When I went through my awakening in 2008, basically there was such a beam of light connected to me that he was like, what's that? Flew in and followed me around till 2010.
So he was a guide. How is that, like, offering guidance if they come in with their own agenda?
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, okay.
Upper dimensions, lower dimensions, 7, Pleiadian, 9, 11, every single higher self I have, I know what their agendas are now. They all do. I'm just being honest with people. It's not a fear thing. It's a fact. Every one of your friends, every one of your family members, every one of your guides, every one of your higher selves has their own thing that they're like, this is the job I came here to get done. So when I answer these questions that you ask me, I'm going to answer them in alignment with what's going to get the job done that I came here to do.
Interesting. Oh, I've never had that experience. Go ahead.
What?
What do you want to say then?
Well, it goes back all the way back to polarity itself, right? So when you're not in oneness, you have eachness, right? And each has its own resonance. And so you're creating what you feel resonates. And in that space, there can occur dissonance if you're sharing a co-created experience. And so that's sort of the crux of this whole thing from top to bottom, all the dimensional levels. You even shared an experience where you judged yourself when you first entered polarity, even at the highest level.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So it permeates, and we're, trying to find through it all harmony for each within the shared experience. That's sort of what I've, come to understand thus far. And so it's about opening harmonious spaces to have each resonant unto itself. And so there are, still spaces that you share experience, right, with your guides, with people in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And, always come back to that question, what resonates with what you're wanting to experience, and how do you navigate to that, and have that intention to open that harmonious space. Whether it's you move somewhere, or you let go of someone in your life, or however it is, just have that simple intention. How does that opening that space look like? And it can be energy work, it can be breathing, it can be past life healing, it can be infinite possibilities of anything, right? And that includes your higher aspects.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So.
Well said.
Well said, brother.
Wow. You're welcome, Don. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't think we were going to get into all that.
Okay. Well, have you guys seen Have you seen the flower of life? The new flower of life that he drew.
I haven't.
So it's the flower. It's the flower of life, right? That's what you started with, and then it's like open in the middle. Each flower, it's open in the middle. It's really wild.
Wow.
It feels very different from the traditional one.
Because I noticed
how cool
when I sat with the flower of life, I get disoriented. I'm like, well, why would that happen, right? Because of how each piece sort of meshes in with each other piece, right? And so it's that enmeshment pattern of creation. Whereas whenever I drew it to have space within each, still connected fluidly, so that all the edges meet, it was like such a different experience of the energy of it, even visually and mentally.
We'll put a picture in the comments below. Yeah. Yes, Claudia, you can see it. We'll I don't have it with me right now, but we'll put a picture of it in the comments below. Someone wanted to know if we listen to Cryon and what we think about that.
I don't.
I don't either. I don't listen to other channeled messages because I want to
Exactly.
keep what comes through me pure, so I really don't listen to anyone else.
Well, and to understand that channeling is always a mix of the source of information they're bringing, whether it's a different aspect or galactic or source energy, and their currently embodied energy with their all their mental, emotional trauma, all that stuff gets mixed in, and then the information translates before they're even aware of it.
Yes.
And so
I would turn the question back on you. What do you think? What do you think?
Exactly.
That's why clearing is always so important.
Yeah.
More clear, more clear.
What resonates with your heart? If Cryon resonates with you, then
Because you can learn from anyone at any level. You can learn from children. You can learn from people that cause harm in your life. You can learn from anyone. And what do you choose to do? Do you choose to do something expansive and fulfilling and resonating, or do you choose to constrict and wallow and be in that cycle until you heal from it, right? So those are sort of the two simple.
I want to read what Taylor says.
a lot.
The concept of pure channeling is an interesting one. I find exposing yourself to more perspectives is helpful. Otherwise, you may only get
That one.
We can't see the rest of the
Well,
comment.
you'd only get that one energy, right? That one interpretation.
Well, what she's saying is it sounds like she's referring to what I was saying, that I found out was the issue in my existence of, a couple of years ago, when I was only asking one higher self my questions. That's why I take it to a vote. So, I mean, all these, someone who's just channeling the Pleiades, just channeling here, just channeling there, I'm sure that's a great thing. But there might be, 1 out of 10 questions might be having their best interest in mind. That's all I know.
I mean, do channel other beings or energies. But the reason I don't listen to other channelings is because, regardless of how pure or clear I am, that still plants the information in my mind. And so it would be very easy to, what's the word I'm looking for?
Pick up a narrative.
To pick up a narrative that someone else has shared, or to find myself saying something that someone else has said. Now, that does happen sometimes. I'll say the same exact thing that someone else has said, but that's just confirmation to me of what I'm channeling, because I haven't heard what that other person said. If I start listening to other channeled messages, I start to, I'm an empath. I'm an integrator, so I integrate, what I choose to,
Mhm. Yeah.
receive into my being. So if I'm listening to other people or other messages, I could easily pass that off as something that's come through me, and I don't want to take other people's work that way.
And one of the things that I've observed is like people have confirmations of truth, but the thing is that within the totality of infinite dimensions and densities and timelines, everything is already true, right? So it's simply a matter of what you're connecting with.
What's relevant?
And the real question is what is relevant, right? So what is relevant for your path, what is relevant for fulfillment and resonance unto yourself, because all of it is true, right? And then it doesn't have to be about judgment of who's right and who's wrong, because everyone's right.
I love that question, Sarah. Any advice for those of us raising up small children to help them and help them to help us, if that makes sense? Yes, it makes total sense. Allow them their expressions. Like, listen to what they say. Let them teach you. They've come in with so much wisdom, and they're usually a lot purer and clearer than we are. So listen to what they have to say. And yeah, you're there as a guide. If you're the parent, you're there as a guide, and to nurture them. But yeah, nurture their abilities.
Yeah, and also I like the whole asking them questions, like not saying, like remove things that were in the vocabulary of your parents, like it was just a dream, or that's an imaginary friend. Ask them more questions about what happened in your dream? Let's see what it was trying to teach you. Let's look it up in the dream book and see what these things are symbolizing.
Yeah.
If we start bringing up the kids in that manner, I mean, oh my God.
Take what they're
God
saying
knows
as
these little
wisdom.
rainbows, like, growing up in that, oh, there was a whale in your dream. And then they're like breaking it down at like 9 years old, That's going to make a huge difference.
Well, and that teaches the very foundation of introspection, of looking inward, right? Whereas if you oppose a should or just this, anything that's reductive or invalidating, then they seek only that external referencing of validating, right? Because that's a pattern that you've sort of projected in that subtle language.
Okay, so there's a
asking
bunch
an
of
interesting
questions.
question.
Yeah, they're like
channeling poems from the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
If you're channeling poems from the Middle Ages, then you must be, whether they were dark times or not, there must be a way that you're adding light to that by bringing it back to
I like
the
that perspective.
collective, or
Yeah.
maybe you're going to slightly change things. So if you're channeling an exact poem, that's definitely some sort of awesome thing. You must have been some sort of scribe, and or you are the poet that wrote those things, is my opinion on that.
Yeah.
And if you're channeling the stuff and you don't like what you're channeling, you can put a boundary around what comes through you. Like, I've set the boundary.
Because you talked about
Only
shadow
those
things.
energies of highest love and light are allowed to come through me. So
Yes.
I have a very strict boundary about what energies are allowed to come through. So I just
Sarah
wanted to add
asked
that.
crystals that would benefit. Crystals that would benefit what?
I don't know. Sarah, can you clarify your question?
Yeah, please.
And
What's
then
the
Jacqueline
intention?
asked a question a long time ago about.
I love how it walks.
I know, this is funny. Where is it? Oh,
Oh, no.
Cancel.
Cancel clear.
I'm trying to scroll.
But
Brother Rion is
Hey,
watching.
Rion.
What up, bro?
Real.
Oh, yeah, and that was a question too. Camille, yeah, I'll be going live tomorrow with Rion. You know how we do on
there
Sunday.
you go. Okay. Do we connect with energies based on our own energetic vibration at the moment?
Or
Maybe things that are projecting in. You're from what I see, the guides that are with you have been with you, and they're waiting patiently for you to see and or hear and or feel them. And then your higher selves, that's your stream's your stream, and it's been your stream for a while.
I'll answer from my perspective
Okay.
too. Like, I'm connecting with energies that are resonating with what my field is emanating. So that means that, maybe the not so nice energies, they just kind of like fall away or slough off. And the energies I really want to connect with, then like, it's a choice, it's a choice about what energies you connect with. So I'll answer it in that way.
right. So
Sarah was asking crystals for children.
oh,
Oh.
So these beautiful beings that are coming, what crystals would support them in their expression?
Well, it
of
depends
their
on the
gifts
child,
and
where their energy is. Right?
Yeah, that's a big open question.
Rose aura, sunstone, selenite under the bed, shungite near the bed for EMF absorption.
I would say tourmaline too, just to help with grounding and.
Yeah, tourmaline's fantastic. Tourmaline will absorb the etheric EMF. I love shungite. Shungite is actually, I mean, if you actually pull, like, if you get a scientist to actually look at the EMF, it'll pull the physical.
Sweet.
So it does the physical and the. I'm not jacking tourmaline. I love it. I use it all the time. It's in this bracelet, but.
I don't know. I have a resonance with tourmaline.
Yeah,
I sleep
no, it's
with
awesome.
a huge chunk on my bed, like
Really?
literally this far away from my head. Yeah,
Oh, excellent.
yeah,
Black or green?
black.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, if it's green, I want to see it.
Because I travel too much at night, and Herkimer Diamond's nice. I travel too much at night, so it's a way of like
Getting you.
helping me.
So
That's
really,
awesome.
it just depends what balances where the
Yeah.
child is.
Mm-hmm.
Ask your
'Cause-
child. Take your child to a crystal shop. Have
I mean,
him or
if-
her pick out,
Yeah.
what they're drawn to.
If the kid's buzzy, you might need something that's grounding. If the kid's like in a real slump, maybe you need something that's more fiery. I mean, it just depends
Well, that's
where the kid is.
what I do with the bracelets when I tune in. Most kids, even though obviously we'd love for them to be like, just give them these crystals for their 14th chakra, for the resonance of being in school. If they are in public school, it's usually like, third chakra is where you want to put the focus. Like pyrite, tiger's eye, smoky quartz, remove negativity, but still like add like good energy and like amplify it, but while removing negativity. So it's like usually most of the crystals are heart and solar plexus and then a little bit of root.
Because these kids are already open all.
And they're way up there, so it's like, it's like giving them a ground. You don't want to,
I
feel like,
think
let me
that's
give
what
them
I
an angel
suggested
quartz
too.
and rainbow hematite and all this like bright colors and rainbows. As much as they love it, they're already up there. It's like give them a better ground,
Yeah.
so they're paying attention to the teacher.
I really resonate with that.
Yeah, because kids can get scattered. I mean, we see that, attention thing.
Yeah.
But kids can get
Oh
scattered.
yeah, and tiger's eye is going to give. Tiger's eye is one of the only crystals that's attached to 3 chakras, and it'll be first, second, third chakra ground. So it actually turns these 3 chakras into one. So it's a good.
The anchor.
It's good for that tail.
They get it?
I think that's good for today.
I mean, what did we cover?
Oh my goodness.
Past expectations of reality and pulling into the now.
We can't see the whole comment, you
I
guys.
think that's the most of our baggage. Past expectations of reality and pulling it into the now.
Is that a question?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to. Any suggestions?
I'm gonna scroll back, see what the question was.
Thoughts on people responding to past expectations of reality and pulling it into the now.
Oh, that's deep.
Looking
Good question.
at what the past experiences, how they affected you or others, would be how I would answer that question. Whatever these past experiences from 9 years ago, 18 years ago, whenever, it could, I guess, for older generations be up to 27 years or more. In those 9-year segments, whatever seems to be repeating from those to the day of that year, look at what is trying to repeat and how it affected others, and then once again, like what we were saying, instead of tuning in on a guide, I do that thing with my heart, tune in on the frequency of what if I do this, what if I do that, and say show me how is my tune in on my cell structure from 3 years ago, if I stay with this person or do this or I start this job or I do this situation. So I would to answer that past expectations of reality, I would feel it out in the present, and then whatever happened in the past, see how they affected you and or others, and think of the all.
And I would bring love into it.
Of course, make sure that there's love.
Maybe it's obvious and maybe that's implied, but I just want to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Because...
Add some glitter.
Yeah, there you go. That's sparkling. when we're working with those kinds of energies, it's important to bring love to the situation, love to the people involved, love to yourself, and that just, heals up the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
So another question that can assist in navigating your choices is which feels heavier, right? Which choice feels heavier? And so maybe not in a positive negative spectrum, but just as a density, sort of like, you know, it feels like you're taking stuff on your shoulders and it's like, well, you know, but if you go to what resonates usually feels lighter, it feels more expansive. And so that's another sort of indicator that you can work with. And eventually you can, you know, get into just knowing your yes and no with whatever tools or methods.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's another way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Taylor asked another
What
interesting
feels heavy,
question.
what feels light?
If it's not in front of you, how is it still real?
If it is in front of you, how is it real?
It says if it's not in front of you.
Does it say not?
Yeah. If it's not in front of you, how is it still real?
Wait, what's the question?
Are you answering the question with your question? Is that what was happening there?
No, I was saying,
okay.
even if it is in front of you, how is it real?
I gotcha with you now. Okay.
That's what I was saying. I was
Okay.
you know.
All right, so real as humans, anything that you experience is real because you experienced it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. There is no, like, this has to be validated by this material thing. Or your experience is all that you have,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it's sort of the Matrix analogy where everything can just be a simulation in your brain, but it's
Yes.
real because it's an experience.
There you go.
Whether it's illusory or it has convolution or all these things, it's real because you experience it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it comes back to, what do you want to experience? How do you navigate to it?
There you go.
And I'm sure that you being here and asking those questions, Taylor, you've seen enough of you know, strange things that have happened that you're like, that's not possible. So if that is your reality, then it is real. How could that happen? These things that literally defy mathematical odds.
Yeah.
How about chords?
How about them?
How about them? How about them chords?
You mean attachment?
Well, like you want to release them or cut them or what?
Oh, energy.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Could you
Chords?
clarify that question, maybe?
What the way I would touch base on chords is, you know, making sure there are not too many of them attached to you. You might have quite a few chords trying to help that one person in your reality. But if those chords were detached from this one person who's kind of pulling from you, and you raise your light and you raise your frequency to the highest potential reality of what your frequency can be at this moment, you might notice that you can affect much more on a grander scale for more people and start a domino effect of you not having so much energy put into this one person. So great stuff. And just to go back to gemstones, mahogany obsidian is the best stone for snapping unwanted etheric chords.
There could be chords to anything.
Yeah, there can be chords to anything. There can be chords to an old locket that you got from your first boyfriend in high school that's in a jewelry box that you haven't looked at in 30 years.
Yep.
A lot of things have chords. When I jump into people's houses to do the type of sessions that I do, when I'm doing like my soul retrieval sessions, I'm like, there's like a scram. It looks like a ball, like a knot of string. It's like a black.
Yeah.
And then I'll tune in on the string and I'll ask like, what's going on here? And I'll see like an image and I'll be like, it's a locket or it's a this or it's a that. Or one thing that is always chaotic energy actually is clocks that haven't been plugged in like 1 year or more. So anything with a clock, an old microwave, an old VCR, because basically since, you know, just because it's not plugged in, if that thing's not plugged in, it's flashing 12. It's representing time being stopped, you know? So a lot of old electronics, especially the ones with clocks on them, they gotta go because they tie up a lot of energy. It looks like a black string that moves slightly, and it looks like chaos. So
Yeah.
I'll tell people, and it's like 9 times out of 10, I'm guessing exactly what it is. I'm like, is it this? Do you have like old VCRs and old electronic equipment? And they're like, oh, I do. I was going to sell it at a yard sale. And it's like,
Get rid of it.
get rid of it. You'll see so much more abundance come back to you instantly, not from worrying about this $30 you might make at a yard sale. It'll free up that energy.
Oh, I never heard about that. That's
Oh, stopped clocks. Even if you have like your father's old watch or whatever, and something sentimental, bring it to the store, get the watch battery put in it, wind it. You know, stopped clocks are gnarly. I mean, I know we say time doesn't exist, but stopped time is not a good manifestation.
Have you seen our clock?
Dead plants, stopped times. Wait, what's
Have you seen our clock? We have a clock with a pendulum swings back and forth, and it says now. There's no numbers on it; just says now.
Love it.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's always on time.
I got a brother in Maine that has that. It really bothers because he looks like he has a watch on, and then people, it's not even any hands on it. He's just like, it's now. They're like, what?
Another thing about
It's
chords.
always true.
Another thing about chords is like substances that you take, medications, marijuana that you smoke, LSD, any kind of substances. All of those can have chords that leach and suck energy from you. So those are important to consider as well.
Not good stuff.
No judgment, but
No judgment.
just know what it's doing.
No judgment, but
Know what it's doing. Know how it's operating.
go organic. I'll leave it at that. Go organic.
Go organic.
Well, no, I mean, I was getting a lot of downloads that there was nanotech, and these places are like, oh, come here to buy the marijuana legally, and like these shop, it's all nanotech.
No.
It's all nanotech. Knock on wood, cancer clear. Hopefully your spot's good. But it's all nanotech. And then I actually had the friends that I've told this to. My phone's been blowing up since the new Kingsman movie came out, and they're like, "Did you know what that's the whole Kingsman 2 movie is about? There being controlling substances in the drugs, and they're like, they're pushing them out and giving them out, but it's all about control."
Interesting.
And I believe
think
somebody
any
said
of that
Barbara
stuff feels
Marciniak,
safe.
who, whatever that is, was saying the same similar thing, that there's nanotech in a lot of these things, and that's something that just I said, and it's now I'm seeing it come up in the
My
reality.
heart did a little thing when you said that.
Yeah. Well, raise the vibration. That's why I keep the crystals. I keep the vibes high, and that stuff can't exist. It's just like it's like bumping into a wall.
What do you give your energy to? What do you give power to? I mean, because
mind, body, spirit.
Everything already exists, and if you put your energy there, it'll start being real. That's the thing. So you got to be very clear what you're choosing.
Yeah. I had a dream once where they were trying to get the thing into me. What's it called? The implant. The
nanotech.
Yeah. Basically. But because of my lifestyle, because of how I eat, and I don't do any substances, like they couldn't get to me. And so they tried to send this child and like have this child, get it to me. And I saw, and I was telling the kid, don't touch that. Just leave it. Let's go. Yeah, chip. Thank you. Yeah, they were trying to chip me, and they couldn't do it. And so they were trying to like sneak it in, and I saw it. And I'm like, don't touch it. Let's go.
Well,
it's very interesting.
That's awesome. That's similar to what I've seen with like more negative based music. Because I was talking about this in my video the other day with Issa. If the music is negative, like say somebody likes to listen to heavy metal music when they work out. They might listen to that heavy metal music on the way to the gym, and then, during the day-to-day, and it's fine. But when you're doing something that's really strenuous, the aura, it's like your focus is in certain areas, things can get through, so that negative music might have a negative effect at those times. So, same thing. Like you're saying, I don't do these substances so the chip couldn't get in. Yeah. It's like, you're listening to good music. You're not listening to like death metal. No. So that's why it's like
I'm not.
Like these frequencies, it's like keep the music good, work on your body, get in the gym. It's like you need 3 points to enclose space. So mind, body, soul. Yeah. So you're meditating, you're doing something for your mind, you're doing something for your body.
Yeah. Always taking care of the vessel. This is the one I got.
Love you guys.
Love you guys. Thanks for being with us. See you in the next video.
See you soon. See you tomorrow.
Good times.